same time we need to learn some things. Sometimes you may think that what is the relation between science and theology? We have a course on that. For me, learning science is a way, or it's an added advantage in learning theology. The development in science is not confined to science alone. The development in science enters to other branches of studies as well. For example, before Einstein, physics was very easy, or maths was somewhat easy. Everything was in a clear-cut, having a clear-cut definition. It's like a Newtonian type of understanding. What is gravity? It's very simple, very simple. But when we see after Einstein, things became more complicated and more complex. The understanding of Newton's gravity, the understanding of Newton and the understanding of Einstein is completely different. Einstein onwards we have the theory of relativity. So therefore, that kind of subjectivity, what is relativity means, the point of view is also important. The person who looks at the thing is also important. Subject is very important. So that type of subjectivity is entered into philosophy as well. You know, postmodernism. There is no absolute truth in postmodernism. And now we live in an age of post-truth. It's completely relative. It's not only relative. There is no absolutes. That is what generally in philosophical world. So this understanding of Darwin is also very, very important in understanding theology. Why? Because Darwin's major contribution of theory of evolution entered into other forms of other branches of study. For example, philosopher like Hegel was so much influenced by this theory of evolution. We know the triad: thesis, synthesis, and thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. So Hegel was a very good philosopher. Many theologians were influenced by Hegel. Hegel, in turn, was influenced by theory of evolution. One of the important theology, New Testament theology is C. Bethel. He understood, or he explained the origin of early Christianity in terms of Hegel's philosophy as Petrine Christianity, then comes Pauline Christianity. Petrine Christianity as a thesis, Pauline Christianity as an antithesis. Then comes Lucan Christianity as a synthesis of both these factions. So sometimes we think that these are originally what happened, but these were just adaptations from science and philosophy. Therefore, understanding of science is very, very important in understanding theology, because understanding of science is not confined to science alone, but it reaches to other branches of study. Therefore, this afternoon we have Darwin's understanding of theory of evolution and in what way it affects the Genesis account. So I hand over mic to our respected Dr. Vinay. Let's put our hands together and welcome him.
Thank you very much, and it's great to meet you again. And this afternoon we will study mainly Darwinian evolution to see if it is compatible with the Bible and what are the scientific problems with this idea. Right. I start with this quote, and it says, "There is no debate within the scientific community over whether evolution has occurred, and there is no evidence that evolution has not occurred." Can you see the contradiction in this? They think that there is no doubt that it has occurred, but there is no evidence it has occurred. It's very confusing. Right, now this is the tree. You have seen the tree before. It starts with a simple cell, and this multiplies and forms all the different branches, and in each branch some creation are extinct and other continue till we come to the present age. That's what he's proposing. This is what we call microbe to microbiologist, from one cell to a doctor who is the microbiologist. That's impossible really. Right, remember naturalism depends on, remember this, nature is all what exists. And everything must be explained by time, chance, laws of nature. Yeah, great. So that's all what is in the natural world. And that's not enough to explain life at all, because life is much more complicated than this. This is what we call religion of atheism, that they refuse God. Now, let us come to the creation narrative, which is very important. I am talking about biblical creation, not just God created. Some people think any God can create. No, we talk about the Bible, the God of the Bible, and the way He created in 6 days and rested in the 7th. That is what we are discussing together. So, and God said, let earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit bear yielding fruit. So every plant will have a seed, and the seed can replant it again and bring fruit. And this cycle will continue. And now we have the mosquito and the other flying creatures helping to pollinate, take the pollens from one place to another, right? And the wind and lots of other things. So God created according to its kind, according to its kind, according to its kind, repeated 10 times in chapter 1. So the plants are created according to its kind. And then in verse 12, and the earth brought forth grass and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit whose seeds was in itself after his kind, and the God saw it was good. Okay? Now, we move on in chapter 1 and we find the same word repeated. And God created great whales and every living creature that moves within the waters brought forth abundantly. So now we talk about the creations in the water. We talk about creation of the earth, which are plants, now in the water. Again, after their kind. After their kind. All the winged creatures after their kind. And God saw it was good. Now we come to the beasts, the creatures on the ground. In verse 25. And God made the beasts of the earth after their kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after its kind. And God saw it good. Now we have the biblical creation after their kind, after their kind, after their kind. In the plant kingdom, in the animal kingdom, in the flying creatures, in creatures in the sea. All of them created after their kind. Great. So this is a kind, as we said, this is kinds of elephants. Many of them, there are differences between them, yes, but they are all elephants. None of them is a cat. So this is the kind. Again, horses. And every living thing of all flesh, 2 of every sort shall come to the ark. So when we have the flood, after about 1600 years from the creation, God brought all the animals after their kinds to Noah to take them into the ark. Is the ark big enough? Yes. Is there enough space and cages? Yes. And we will have a lecture probably at the end of the week. I tell you more about the ark and about the flood. So all of this came after, according to their kind, and after the flood, they repopulated the earth according to their kinds. Okay? Now, this is the model, the creation model, the biblical creation. I'm not just talking about creation in general, I'm talking about the biblical creation. And we'll see if it is compatible with science or not. Yes? Now, the biblical creation, God created according to its kind according to the week of creation. And then the flood came, and God came to all these kinds in the ark, and after the ark, they repopulated the earth, and this is where we are now. Okay? So we have 2 different models, completely different. We can't mix them together. So, you remember this one? The vertical evolution from molecule and chemical reaction to man? That's impossible. But we believe in the creation model, which is God created according to his kind. Now, these are the finches. Let me tell you about Darwin. Darwin was brought up in south of England, and he was sent to Edinburgh, up north in Scotland. That's about 50 miles where I live actually now. And he went to Edinburgh University to study medicine. But he didn't like it because at the time, He was born in 1809, so it was the 19th century. The anesthesia was not well developed. So he saw massive operations and cutting legs and things, and he said, no, it's not for me. So he went back to his father, and he said, I don't want to study medicine. So his father wanted him to study something which will make him well respected in England. And the best thing in that time is to study theology. So to be a vicar, and that is the best job in England at that time. So he went and studied theology. He didn't believe anything that he studied. So when he graduated, he said, I can't be a minister, I can't be a vicar, I can't be a minister, because I don't believe what I have studied. So there was a ship called the Beagle, and the Beagle was traveling from England to South America to do some work there. So at the time, the captain of the ship wanted somebody to accompany him. So he chose Charles Darwin. So Darwin went in this journey, and he had the idea of the earth is formed over millions of years. That developed by somebody called Charles Lyell. So he had this idea of millions of years. So he went to the Galapagos Islands, which is in South America. And then he found some birds called the finch. The finch has different beaks, as you can see here. Some small, some big, some curved, right? So he found that in each island, the finches that are able to survive are according to the type of food that's available in the island. And the beak was suitable to take that food and eat it. So he said, the natural selection is the way to create. Okay? That's his idea. The natural selection started to select the suitable creatures that can live in one particular area, and as a result, we don't need God, nature can create itself. You see the point? Yeah? We'll follow that. So, finches played a central role in Darwin's thinking, evolutionary process of natural selection. Right. There are two important things in evolution theory. Two main pillars, right? To make evolution theory stand. We'll discuss these two pillars. The first one is natural selection, and the second one is random mutations. We'll understand this, and we'll take our time to understand these two words. Please remember them. So the two important things in evolution are these two: natural selection and mutation, or random mutation. We will understand each one in detail now. Right. Natural selection. Is natural selection a fact? Yes. We believe there is something called natural selection. We do believe that. Yeah? But it doesn't lead to evolution as we see. But natural selection is not evolution. Natural selection is not evolution at all. Natural selection keeps the suitable animals to live in suitable place, but it doesn't create the animal. So it is not a creative power, it is a distributing power. So we believe in natural selection, but natural selection is not a creative power, but it is a distribution power. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Right. We'll have a lesson in genetics. So be ready. Okay? Are we all ready? Yes. A big yes. Good. Now, there are two words I'd like you to understand. Something called morphology and genetical makeup. What I mean by that? Morphology is the outside structure, right? This outside structure is determined by the genetic pool inside this animal. Okay? So we're going to study one character in the dogs, which is the length of their fur, the skin, the fur, right? So the hair, yeah. So So we study this length of the hair, or the hair, I'll call it hair so we can understand, yeah? Depends if it is short or long or intermediate. If it is intermediate, that means the genetic pool is short and long, so they bring intermediate. If it is long and long, that means it's long. If it is short and short, it is short. I repeat that again. So if I see a dog with long hair, that means the genetic pool is long and long. Long from the mother, long from the father, L and L, broad the long. If I see one short hair, I say S and S, short and short, and make it short. If I see one intermediate hair, that means he took S from the father and L from the mother, and it's SL. Are we happy about this? If you don't, please let me know, because that will help us a lot. So, we will conduct the marriage between this dog and this dog. So there is a lady here, we put a bow in her head, and they fell in love, and they're going to get married. Okay? Are we ready? So, let us see. The S from the mother, that's the red, and the S from the father, that's the blue, and they come together. What is the length of the hair here? Short. S and S brings short. Can be S from the mother, L from the father, SL makes medium hair. Agree? Now, L from the mother, the red, L from the father, the blue, and become long hair. So, this one family, the father and mother are intermediate hair, bringing short, intermediate, and long. You all agree about that? Great. Let us do some experiment. We'll take this family, which is SS, short, SL, intermediate, LL, large. Okay? Tall. And we'll take them to cold weather. So we take them to cold weather. Let us see what happens. In the cold weather, the SS and SL will not tolerate the heat, the cold weather. So they will die. Who will survive? The LL, the long hair. Right? The other will die. If they die, we'll make their funeral. So we lost SS, we lost SL, and all what is remaining is LL. Right? So the nature selected the LL to live in the cold weather and eliminated the SS and SL. Yeah? So that is the natural selection. So what happened is, all what is left in the cold weather is LL. So the LL will marry LL and will bring only LL. They can't bring the short anymore because we lost the S, the short. Yes? We lost the S. So that is the natural selection. It is a distributing power. It is not created power. The nature didn't create the long hair in the cold weather. The nature selected the long hair to live in the cold weather. Right? Are we more happy about that? So that is the natural selection. So we believe in natural selection, but natural selection is not a creative power. Right? We'll repeat the exercise. We'll take this family. You remember the father and mother were SL, medium hair. And they brought SS, short, SL, intermediate, LL, long. Yeah? Right. Let us take this family and let them immigrate in the hot weather. What will happen in the hot weather? The LL will not be able to live. The SL are not able to live. Who is going to live? SS, only the short. So they will die. But we have to do the funeral. Yeah? So the funeral is, we lost LL completely. We lost SL. What is remaining is SS. So SS will marry SS, and all the dogs in this hot climate will be short hair. So that is the natural selection. It is distributing what God has created depending on the different weathers in the world. Have you understood this? This is very important, because that explains what is the natural selection means. So we Christians, according to the Bible, we believe in natural selection. It is something we can examine in the laboratory. It is something that we can see in observation science. Okay? So we believe in natural selection. But natural selection is not a creative power, it is a distributing power. Okay? We are happy with this. If you understand this, you understand all what Darwin has said. Now, so these are the distribution. Obviously, this example is, we are taking it to the extreme. Yeah? You understand what taking to extreme? Making it severe weather that will not allow the intermediate to live. Yeah? But obviously, there is accommodation. This is just an example to give you the full picture. But there are more details on that. Okay. Now, so the distribution. The LL, the long hair, will live in the cold weather. The SS will live in the south in the hot weather. The intermediate weather will be SL, which is the intermediate. Okay? All happy? Great. Right. So what happened in the natural selection? It is actually reducing the information. So natural selection made the SS to live in one place without the ability to bring L at all, unless you bring the L from outside. The LL, the long hair, live in the cold weather and they can't produce the S anymore. So the natural selection reduces the genetic pool. It will not increase the genetic pool. So the natural selection is coming down. Actually, for evolution to happen, to come from a cell to a fish, to amphibian, to reptiles, to man, you need increased information. So the natural selection is taking us down. Evolution is proposing that we are going up. So the natural selection actually works for the creation model and not for the evolution model. Are we all clear about that? So, if we start with the wolf, with lots of genetic information, then the other coyote and dingo and collie, and then it goes down till you come to the little one called Chihuahua, the little dog. Yeah? This little dog have more information, or the wolf has more information? The wolf. Yeah? So it is declining, coming down. So can the Chihuahua become a wolf? No, because it cannot have the genetic information to be added to it. Can the wolf become a Chihuahua? Yes, it can lose information, and become a Chihuahua. So natural selection is taking us down. Evolution wants to get us up. But going up meaning we need more information to be added. From where we get information? It has to be in the gene, on the genes. And from where we get information, as I said, matter does not produce information. It has to come from intelligence. So it has to come from God. You see, you understand this? Right. So natural selection can explain the survival of the fittest. Why the fit animal managed to survive in this difficult environment. It is severe cold or severe war. It survived because the ability, the genetic material inside is able to survive. But not the arrival of the fittest. Natural selection is God-designed method of preserving representatives of the original created kinds in the fallen world. That means, after the fall and after the distribution of animals and humans will live in different parts depending on what is suitable for each group of people or animals. Okay? Obviously with humans we can have fans, we can live in hot climate, we can have air conditions. So we took the example of the dogs, just an example, right? It's just an example. But in genetics there are much more complicated issues than what I described. There's something called penetration, there is lots and lots of other issues. But the basic principle is the same. So we use this example to explain the natural selection. Okay? Right. So there are two pillars for Darwin evolution. Number one is natural selection, number two is random mutation. Good. Do mutations supply new information necessary for evolution? So that's the question. Can mutation increase the information on the genetic pool? Because as I said, in order to come from the simple to the complex, you need added information. Yeah? Now, can mutation, by the way, the word mutation means copying mistake. So can copying mistakes of the genetic pool bring an information, increased information? It's impossible. If you have a photocopier and you want to photocopy a letter, and then the photocopy is worse than the letter, and you keep photocopying the copy, it becomes even worse, So mutation is a copying mistake. So repeated mistakes will not make something good at the end. Okay? So mutation is a copying mistakes. This is an example of mutation. Mutation made this pig with two noses. Is that better or bad? It's much, much worse. Because the system, the breathing system will be disturbed. So you can have mutations, but mutations always makes things worse, not makes them better. This boy with many fingers, and some of them amalgamated together, this is mutation. Is it a better functioning hand or less functioning hand? It's a less functioning hand. Despite the fact there are more digits in it, more fingers in it, but it is less functioning because this is mutation. Look at the feet. There are many, many toes. This is not a good foot to stand upon. The foot you have is much better than this mutated foot. You understand? Right. We can induce mutation in the laboratory. So we believe in mutation. As Christians, we believe there are mutations. Yes. But mutations are copying mistakes, making things worse, not making things better. Now, we can induce mutation in the laboratory. We can use X-rays, we can use chemicals to make changes. So if we take this normal female and normal male of this insect, right? We can make the wings bigger. But when we do that, the whole life of the animal or the fly will be weaker. We increase something, yes, we can increase the wings, but on the expense of other functions. So as a result, this new fly is weaker. We can make the wings very small, right? But again, that will affect the life of the whole insect. We can make an insect without any wings at all. We can do that in the laboratory, right? By playing with the genetics. But this is not making it better or bigger. It's making it worse. You can increase one function, but you have to reduce other functions. So the end result is a weaker creature. We can have the wings back, we can put them back out, we can do lots of things. This is mutation. Mutation is a copying mistakes. And repeated mistakes will not make it right at the end. Right, so mutation is a fact. But mutation nearly always reduces genetic information. they never increase functional genetic information. So, you have two important things about Darwin theory. You have natural selection, and we studied natural selection is not a creative power, it is a distributing power. We have mutation, random mutation, and random mutations are always copying mistakes which will not increase or develop the product to be a higher product. Okay? So the two main pillars of Darwinian evolution, they are all right. We believe them, but they cannot make evolution happen. So we believe in natural selection, we believe in mutation, but both of them cannot create, cannot improve the product. Imagine this computer. Can we start taking some pieces together haphazardly and putting them in different areas, and this computer will improve? No chance. So, the natural selection and mutation cannot improve what's available. There is a book called Not by Chance by Lee Spittner, and he's saying this word: all point mutations that have been studied on the molecular level turn out to reduce the genetic information and not to increase it. So this is a scientist who is not a Christian, but he is saying all point mutations that have been studied on the molecular level, in the genetic level, turn out to reduce the genetic information and not to increase it at all. Right? So mutation cannot increase the information. And to come from the simple to the complex, you need increased information. You happy about that? Right, let me give you a little example. If you think this is the amoeba, and the DNA of the amoeba, or the information that need to form an amoeba, is like this box, like this book. Yeah? So all the information in that book can form an amoeba. If you want to form a horse, you need this series of books of information. Right? So this one book in the amoeba cannot produce all these series of books of information to build a horse. Yes? So Darwin believes that we came from one particular cell, and this started to divide and form you and me. From where you increase the information to produce a man, a woman, an animal, or whatever. See the difference now? Good. Back again to this picture. The whole creation is growing now. In the original creation of God, there was no mutation in the Garden of Eden, because there was no disease, there was no death, because disease, you know, cancer is a mutation of the division of the cell, resulting in a cell which is malignant, keep producing. Yeah? So, because of that, there was no mutation in the Garden of Eden. But now all the creation is groaning, awaiting the revelations of the sons of God, awaiting the second coming of Christ, to be able to stop all this disease and decay and illness, and will be new creation in Christ Jesus. Will have new body. Right? So what we are seeing now is decay and mutation. Mutations are the God-ordained consequences of His curse on creation because of Adam's sin. If Adam and Eve didn't sin, we will not have mutation, will not have copying mistakes. That sometimes babies are born with massive anomalies, massive abnormalities. Okay? This is because of mutation happened during their development in the womb. This wouldn't happen in the Garden of Eden at all. But because of the sin, Disease and mutation came into the world as a result of the curse. I'd like you to understand this diagram. We start here by everything was very good. That's the past. Yes, that's the biblical model of creation. Everything was good in the past. There was no illness, no disease, no mutation. So there was no mutation in the Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve disobeyed God. And as a result, sin entered into the world. And the curse came. And with the curse, there was mutation. So mutation started, and death is increasing till now. And then, Jesus Christ will come, and He will change our humble bodies. And He will give us new body which cannot die. And there will be no sin, or disease, or illness, or death. And this is the future. New heaven and new earth. Okay? Now, there is a different model. There is a different model. And that different model is, from the beginning there was death. That's according to Darwin. And survival of the fittest. And the fit group will be able to produce fit group. But how the information increases, as I said, natural selection is a distribution power, is not a creative power. Okay? Do we understand Darwinian evolution now? Any questions? I'll let you think of a couple of questions, and I will just put another presentation. So, any questions at all? No? Okay. That is good or bad, I don't know. Right, okay, let me just... Yeah, okay, yeah, keep going.
Regarding Darwin's theory, regarding Darwin's theory, this theory was computed by Darwin itself, or
Yeah.
because Darwin does not know about genetic things.
Right.
He computed his theory in regard with the present things. He does not means the stages which are completed. On that basis, he computed his theory, not on the basis of. He does not have any idea of genetic things. And second question is, sir, scientists are doing so many experiments of bringing a new species. Means two different species they are taking, and they try to make a new, produce a new species. But Bible, according to Bible, it says that they are made in their kinds, as to say, sir. So until now, I don't think so that it is possible that a new species has been formed. But if so, in future, if it will, they will able to form a new species with two different species. And what will be done?
Yeah, okay. Let me first speak about Darwin. Darwin did not know about the genetics that I explained, because genetics really came after Darwin by Mendel. So all what Darwin has to study is the outside appearance. Okay? But the idea of evolution was there from the Greek time, way before Darwin. But what Darwin did is use natural selection based on the peaks of the finches, saying that nature selects what's suitable. So the nature keeps selecting till we come to the human beings. And he considered other races inferior to the Caucasians. And he said they will be eliminated by time. Alright? So that is Darwin's theory. And obviously became something called New Darwinism, and lots of development of the original theory. But he concentrated in the two mechanisms, which is the natural selection and mutation. Yeah? But as I said, these two mechanisms cannot increase the information, cannot develop new species. Now, when we talk about we can mix things together, we can bring one animal and hibernate this animal with another animal and get something else. But that is within the kind. Within the kind. Because if you, nothing to cross the kind. So within the kind, yes, you can mix and match. Yeah? But you cannot cross between kind and another kind. Okay? So you can't bring a lion and bring an elephant. That will never happen. But you can make different types of lions. So within the kind, yes, there are changes. And you can have different morphology. Morphology meaning the outside appearance. Yeah, that can happen. But to change a lion to an elephant, that's impossible. Yeah, good question. Any others? Good. You don't have to have a question now. I'm happy, yeah. But I like you because now I like to understand what Darwinian theory means. Okay? And because of that, Darwin theory said there is no need for God. Okay? There is no need for God because nature will select what is suitable and keep doing that, and God has no role in creating or preserving the nature. He doesn't believe in the fall of Adam. He doesn't believe that Adam existed. We came from a common ancestor, and this common ancestor, one branch became the apes, and another branch became humans. That's what they believe, which is not scientific and is not right. Okay, now, in the coming 20 minutes or so, I'd like to concentrate on what is the effect of Darwinian evolution. Does it matter? If I believe in Darwinian evolution, would that be compatible with the Bible? Would that really have any effect in moral standards? Let us see. So, Darwinian evolution is the religion of death, really. And Michael Denton said these words: today it is perhaps the Darwinian view of nature more than any other that is responsible for the agnostic and skeptical outlook of the 20th century. What he's saying is, lots of people started to deny God and to deny the Bible. Why? Because he thinks that Darwinian evolution, natural selection and mutation, made people to say that there is no need for a creator. Yeah? So they started to be agnostic. Who are the agnostic? Anybody knows what's agnostic mean? Yeah, you can raise your voice, you can have the mic, you can tell me what you think. What do you think? What's agnostic means?
Something like knowledge or something?
Sorry?
Knowledge.
It's related to knowledge, yes. But let me explain. There are two terms here. Atheist, that means he doesn't or she doesn't believe in God. Agnostic will say, I don't know if there is God or no God. So they're taking a neutral position. Agnostic. Gnosis meaning knowledge, as you said. Agnosis means I don't know, I don't have knowledge. Yeah? So, there are people who are atheists who say there is no God, but actually how can they prove there is no God? It's very difficult. So other people say, I don't believe in God, but I don't know if he exists or doesn't exist. Both are wrong. Yeah? But the reason that people increased in being agnostic and being atheist is because of Darwinian evolution. So that's a picture of Charles Darwin. As I said, he was born in 1809 in Britain, in south of England. And really, they were celebrating his birth on the 12th of February, and they want to make a Darwin Day. They make a big, in the West, this is very big. very big. I don't know what's happening in India here about Darwin, but it is a very big event. And because of his ideas, that caused people in the West to try to not to believe the Bible, becoming agnostic or atheist.
So can you speak about Da Vinci Code?
Darwin what?
Da Vinci Code. Something like Magdalene Maria, the blood connection with Jesus Christ.
Sorry, I don't follow all that. I need Mike.
Da Vinci Code, sir. Magdalene Mary having that blood.
Yeah, Mary's daughter died, and that was a crisis in his life. And said, why God allows my daughter to die? And as a result, that really defeated him. But he has these thoughts even when he was single, before he has his family. And actually, the grandfather of Darwin has the same idea. And his grandson, George Darwin, has the same idea, and he was talking about the origin of the moon, and he came with very theory which is not accepted nowadays. So it was running really deeper in their thinking. But Darwin is the one who, he was very clever in noticing changes. So he was able to document the finch's peak. And he started to use that to say natural selection or evolution of man by natural selection. He wrote two books, two important books. One, Origin of the Species, how the different species arise. And then he was strong enough to write another book called The Descent of Man by Natural Selection. So he started to talk about animals first and birds, because the church was very strong at the time and they wouldn't accept his views. So he started gradually saying the origin of species and then the descent of man. These are the two main books. And his daughter, yes, that's nice. It's good to go and search life of Charles Darwin and see on the internet and you know more. Okay? So, Darwinian evolution, does it matter if I believe Darwin or not? Yeah, it does. Because if I believe Darwin, that means death was there from the beginning. But death came after the fall of Adam and Eve. And Jesus came to take our death. So if death was with us from the beginning, before sin, there is no need for Jesus to come and die for sin. See how difficult that is? So Darwinian evolution is a religion of death. What he did, death of the curse. Right? Let us have number one. If you believe in Darwinian evolution, you believe there is no curse, because the death was there from the beginning, before the fall of Adam. Yeah? The secrets of evolution are time and death. Time for the slow accumulations of favorable mutations, and death to make room for new species. That's Carl Sagan, who is an atheist, and he's saying these words. The secret of evolution is two things: time and death. So, death will eliminate the weak creatures, and time will allow for the good mutations to accumulate. But as we said, mutation is a copying mistakes. So if you accumulate copying mistakes, will not get you the better products. Yeah? So, if you believe in Darwinian evolution, you believe that death was there from the beginning. We'll come to Annas, that's the daughter of Darwin, as you said. Cruel death in 1851 destroyed Charles Tatter's belief in moral just universe. Later he would say that this period changed the final death for the Christianity in his mind. And Charles now took his stand as an unbeliever. So, as I said, he studied theology, but he was not a believer. It's not, if you study theology, you become a believer. You are a believer and then you study theology. Yeah? So, he studied theology. The death of his daughter Annie caused him to have unbelief in God. So why we have fossils? Why we have death? These fossils came after the fall. In the Garden of Eden there was no fossils, but after the fall there was death. And later on, during the flood, there was many millions of fossils during that time. So, in the fossil record, we find death and pain and killing and disease and thorns and struggle and suffering and extinction, all of that in the record. That is millions of years according to evolution. We don't believe that, because evolution believes that death was there from the beginning, and as a result, man and woman came at the top, which is very strange really. Repeated death cycles improve the product till we came at the top. That's not logical and not scientific. Yeah? Because in copying mistakes will not bring man at the top or woman. Okay? Now, the Bible creation is different. That's why I'm talking about the biblical creation. Bible creation is man's were perfect, created in the image of God. And then man and woman disobeyed God, and sin entered into the world. And as a result of sin, we have death and decay till now. That's why we believe the history of man on earth was not millions of years at all. We believe according to the Bible, it is thousands of years. According to civilizations, if you Google civilization, you find the civilizations, the recorded is about 10,000 years maximum. Right? So we didn't count 4 million years, the great-great-great-grandfather was an ape. And from this ape, branches came to be monkeys and branches came to be human. There is no evidence of that. So the biblical creation, we believe in thousands of years, not millions of years. In evolution, they need these millions of years for small changes to accumulate, but all these changes are bad anyway. But they want millions of years for these changes to accumulate to bring a better product. So, let us talk about the feeding of Adam and Eve and the animals. Can Adam and Eve have chicken for dinner? Yes or no? I didn't get an answer. No, why no? Sorry? No, get her the mic or come forward. Come forward, that will be easy. Good. Yeah, but there were animals. Why he doesn't kill an animal and eat? We'll have lamb. There was no recommendation not to kill anybody. No, I can't hear you. You need to come then. Come over. Come. No, it's good. Come.
Sir, she is saying that there were early vegetarians. Then from there that is naked.
No. Come first. Come. Yeah.
Can't get into the mind of people.
That's good. Thank you. Right. Why Adam and Eve cannot have chicken for dinner? Yeah. Because they don't like chicken, huh? Yes.
No, that can be a vegetarian because God only allowed them to eat only plant, like what about the fruits and all that.
So why God didn't allow them to eat animals? You don't know. We can ask God, yeah?
Because that time they were not seen. After seeing only the killing of somebody's came.
Yes.
Before that there was no killing, so
Sure.
because of that.
That's the right answer, but I just explained. Thank you. Right. Okay. Why Adam and Eve cannot have chicken for dinner? Because if you kill an animal with circulating blood, because the soul of man is in the blood, right? There was no killing. If you kill an animal, you cause death to that animal. Yes? There was no death. So the food of man and for animals as well was vegetarian. So the animals will not eat each other. The lion was not going to eat another lamb or something. Yeah? Originally, they are not going to eat anything but vegetarian. Now, if I eat plant, if I eat an apple, have I killed an apple? No. Because the plants are there as a source of energy and food. There is no soul in them. There is no soul in the animal, in the plant. So when I eat plants, when I eat vegetables, they have no soul. So I'm not killing them. They are packages of energy for you and for me. Right? Let us see the Bible, what it says. Because these are important verses. I don't think we took care of them really previously. But please go and read it and understand it. Then God said in Genesis 1:29-30, Behold, I have given you every plant, right, yielding seed that is on the surface of all the earth. So all the plants, you can eat anything you like. And every tree which has fruit yielding seed. So the tree have fruit yielding seed, you can eat and you can plant the seeds and have another cycle. But you are not killing the plant. Okay? Shall be food for you. That's good. So Adam and Eve have vegetarian diet, and that's good. What about animals? God spoke about this as well. And to every beast on the earth, and to every bird of the sky. So he's talking about birds and beasts, all the animals. What are we going to eat? And everything that moves on the earth, which has life. You have to have life. Remember, I showed you a video about life, which is different from animals and plants. I have given every green plant for food, and it was so. So the food for animals and the food for humans was vegetarian initially, because there was no death. Are we all happy about that? These are very important things we need to think about. Right. Every moving thing that has life shall be food for you. I give all to you as I gave the green plant. When that happened, when that verse happened, what do you think? Yeah, you can see it higher. After the flood. After the flood of Noah, in chapter 9, the Lord said, now I'm allowing you to eat meat as I have given to you the green plants to eat. I'm allowing you to kill animals and eat them. And he gave them instructions of killing the animals. You can't suffocate an animal and eat it. You have to shed the blood of the animal, and you don't eat the blood, but you eat the animal. You can roast it, you can cook it, you can do whatever you like. But after you kill this animal, you can't eat animal alive. Yeah? You have to kill it, shed its blood, and then eat it. That happened after the flood. So there are two types of food. One vegetarian before the flood, and after the flood you are allowed to eat meat. What about the thorn and thistles? The Lord said, the land now after the curse will bring thorns. So if God's curse didn't happen, that means there are no thorns and thistles on the earth. Now in the fossil record, they found thorns, and they say they developed 360 million years ago. That the thorns came after the death, the curse that came to Adam. And Adam lived about 6,000 years ago. So the thistles and the thorns cannot be 360 million years old. Okay? We'll understand how they formed in the flood, but I don't know if we'll have enough time to do that in the course here. Despite the fact I'm spending a week, that's not enough. Right. Sin's consequences. Serpent was judged physically. Animals were cursed because the serpent was cursed. Eve judged physically and increased pain in childbirth. As I said, pain itself is not a curse, because pain is a protective mechanism. If I find the fire and I touch the fire, I feel the pain and I take my hand out. So that's good. I heard of a young lady who had a disease which is, she can't feel pain at all. So the family has to be with her all the time, because she can hurt herself. She can touch a boiling water and she doesn't feel the pain. So she can hurt herself. So it is a big problem. So the pain is a protective mechanism, which is good. But what is bad is increasing the pain of childbirth. Adam and Eve were just physically and started the process of dying. So when they disobeyed God, there were two deaths. They died spiritually in the relationship with God. They died physically after so many years. So how long Adam lived? Can we remember? 930. Yes. That's nearly right. Not exactly, but nearly right. It's not bad. So 930 years. So the death happened, separation from God, but it continued till 930 years. The ground was cursed. Animals killed to cover Adam's sin. The ground is cursed. All the creation is groaning. Therefore, just as through one man sin entered into the world, and death through sin. Remember, death came as a result of sin. There was no death before sin. Right? And so death is spread all over the planet. So if you believe in Darwinian evolution, you have to believe that sin was there from the beginning. And death was there from the beginning. But death is an intruder who came after sin. Is that clear? Death came after sin, not before sin. So there was no death before sin. Right, so Garden of Eden. If you think of millions of years, that we lived millions of years of death and struggle and disease and illness, and then God built the Garden of Eden on top of that. No, that's not what has happened. Garden of Eden was there. God created a perfect world, and then sin entered into the world, and then pain and death and struggle happened, and all these layers. You see the difference between the two? Are we all clear about that? Any questions? So, if you believe in Darwinian evolution, you have to believe that there was millions of years of death and struggle before God created the Garden of Eden. And after He created that, I looked and said, it's very good. No, it's not very good. It's best to really in the tomb underneath it. Death and struggle of layers. Yeah? But the biblical model is God created a perfect world, and then Noah's flood and all the struggle which forms these layers. Right. For millions of years of death before Adam sinned, then the curse of Genesis 3 did not nothing. If there was death before sin, so when God said to Adam, if you eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, you will die. That means if there is death before, so that there is no meaning of that warning at all, that means there is no meaning of the curse of sin. Number two, I'll finish very quickly here. So, if you believe in Darwinian evolution, you believe in the death of the curse. Yeah? Now, death of God. God saw that everything is good and very good. God is asking us to look after animals, as you see in this verse. God is asking us to look after the animals as they were, they should be fed. So God is a kind God, and He is helping us to understand how to look after nature. He is asking us to be careful with all the things that He has done. If God allows all of this to happen before the creation, before sin, that means it is an attack on God's character. You can't say very good, a Garden of Eden built on all these layers of death and destruction. Right. Okay, we saw this diagram before. In the beginning, according to Darwin, there is death for millions of years. And then Adam sinned and death continued. And death till the end, and there is no future. In the creation model, God created Adam and Eve perfect. There was no death, and death entered the world, and death with us is the present, and in the future, the Lord Jesus will come, and there will be no more death. So there are two different models, and you can't combine both. Death of the gospel, because the gospel is based on the sin of Adam, and we needed a savior. If Adam never existed, and we came from apes, and there was no sin, that means there is no need for Jesus to come. As simple as that. So, when you explain the gospel to somebody, you say, this is the good news of Jesus. He's crucified, died, buried, raised from the dead. Yes, that's what you tell people. But this is actually based on Adam's sin. Because Adam sinned, we need a savior. If Adam and Eve didn't sin, we don't need a savior. And one atheist said, if there is no sin of Adam and Eve, that means there is no need of a savior. And that makes Jesus unemployed. That's his words. Yeah? So, the foundation of the gospel is in Genesis. The power of the gospel is in the death and resurrection of the second coming. So it's all related. So, Jesus came and died on the cross. That has meaning if Adam really sinned. If he hasn't, there is no need for Jesus to come. I will pass all of this because the time is pressing us. So, perfect world, then destruction, then the second coming. This is the biblical model. Perfect world, then sin entered the world and there is destruction, and then new heaven and new earth. So that's the gospel. We can't explain the gospel from the middle. We can't just say to the people, Jesus died and rose again. Why did he die? Because of the sin. Where sin entered the world? Because of Adam. So we come to creation, and then the gospel, and then the hope of the gospel of the second coming of Jesus. If we put evolution at the base, the result is the death of the resurrection of Christ has no meaning, and it makes a ridicule of the Christian message. Why do you believe in Jesus? Why do you believe he came and died if there is no sin to pay for? Right, I will pass all of this. Death of meaning of morality. What I mean by that? Look at this man, he's an atheist. He said, let me summarize my view on what modern evolution biology tells us. There are no good, no gods, no purposes, no goal-directed forces of any kind. There is no life after death. So the moral consequences of believing in Darwinian evolution is there is no meaning of life. We came from nothing, we came from chemical reactions. When we die, we analyze chemical reaction. There is no meaning of life at all in between. So we came from nothing, we head into nothing, there is no meaning in between. You see the point? So that's how dangerous this teaching is. This evolutionist atheist said, when I die, I am absolutely certain that I am going to be dead. That's the end for me. There is no ultimate foundation for ethics, no ultimate meaning to life, and no free will for humans either. He is really miserable. Yeah? He's saying there is no meaning at all, and there is no hope. When I am dead, there is no eternity, and there is no hope for doing anything at all. So, if you have the Bible as your base, and the 6 days of creation, then you have God as giving the authority. If you have monkeys, millions of years, and man is the authority, then there is no morals. What can be right in one community can be wrong in another. There is no absolute morality. And obviously, death of the scripture. If really Darwin is right, it means the Bible is wrong, and really this is the death of scripture. So which one you believe in? Do you believe God or do you believe Darwin? So this is the Charles Lyell who said there are millions of years. So the Darwinian evolution is a decision of religion of death, destroys the Bible teaching, assault the character of God, destroys faith in the gospel, destroys meaning of morality, undermines the reliability of the Bible. So these are the concepts. In the first part of the lecture, I explained the Darwinian evolution. In the second part, I explained to you the consequences of the Darwinian evolution. And these are the consequences of the Darwinian evolution. Okay? Great. I'll stop here, and if you have any question, I'll be delighted to answer them.
So,
Yeah.
can we say that angels and humans are of same kind or same essence?
No, I can't tell you any more about the angels because the Bible doesn't tell us about the creation of the angels. But everything was created within the 6 days of creation. Yeah.
When we see Genesis chapter 6, the angels came down and they married with a woman and they produced children.
No, I can't follow all of that story.
In Genesis 6,
Yes.
we can see that the Son of God, they came down and
Right.
they married and they produced children.
Yeah. The Son of God in Genesis 6. There are different views about this. But I can tell you some problems with the idea of being angels. Because if they are fallen angels. Yeah? Wicked angels. So they are satanic. Yes? We can't say them they are the sons of God. Yeah? What I believe, but as I said, there are many views here, is the descendants of Seth, that was the godly line, and the descendants of Cain, that was the bad line, and the combination of them two produced these people who were wicked in the eyes of the Lord. So the sons of God in chapter 6, as I said, there are different views, but to think they are angels, fallen angels, first of all, you can't call them sons of God. Number two, angels don't have body to get married and to produce people. So there are lots of issues. Any more questions?
So it's a general question, sir. Why the Western countries are attracted to this yoga, science, and natural therapies and all these things? And why Western cultures, Western countries are attracted to Indian yoga, Hinduism?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, why that was, I heard from my professor that there are subjects in the universities regarding that.
Yeah. That's a good question. Thank you. Yeah, the yoga, the Indian yoga, and the Western really are mad about this, about the yoga and all of other things. The trouble with the West, they have refused the Bible and the God of the Bible. So they are trying anything else because there is a vacuum. So they think you can go and find energy in the world, and Buddhism as well. It's a big thing in Europe now. I met a Buddhist lady. I spent about an hour or so discussing this with her. They think there is a source of power, and if you meditate, you can have energy and all that. This is deviation from God. Nothing wrong with doing physical exercise, and that's no problem. The problem is they wanted to replace God of the Bible with this yoga and Buddhism and all that. And I was in South Korea, and there are, I think, 4 different types of Buddha. It's not only one Buddha. So it is very complicated, and Buddha can be an idea, not a person. It is very, very vague. So the answer to your question, they deviated from the Bible, and as a result, they accepted it. But this is a well-known phenomenon in the West. Okay, any more questions? Great. I hope you understood this lecture.
At the same time, out of curiosity, let me ask you one question.
Yes, yeah.
You said in Bible also it is said that life is in the blood.
Yes.
So, as a doctor, you may know this more than us. One of the Christian sects refused to have this transfusion of blood,
Yeah.
citing this reason.
Yes.
So what is your opinion on that? If
Yeah.
soul is part of the blood,
That's right. Yeah, that's a very good question actually. Yeah, the life in the blood, but that doesn't mean we will not have blood transfusion. Because the life, for example, if I have a failed, we have two kidneys, yeah, and they are important for life. If both are failing, we can do a kidney transplant. We haven't taken a life from one person and put it in another. We have supported the life of a failing kidney. So if somebody bleeds in an accident and we have 5 liters of blood circulating in our body, if somebody loses 1/3 of this, that's dangerous. So you can replace blood. So when you transfuse blood, that doesn't mean you are transfusing a soul of a person to another soul. Doesn't mean that at all. It means you are transfusing physical structure called red blood cells to circulate in another person to save his life. So personally, I don't see any problem of this, but I know some people cite this verse, as you said, and say we shouldn't accept blood transfusion. But transfusion is not against the word of God. Great. Any others? Great, thank you very much. Tomorrow we'll talk about the Big Bang. So, if you want to read about it, so tomorrow we'll talk about the Big Bang and we'll try to understand is it compatible with the Bible or not. And then we talk about Noah's flood and the rest. Okay? Thank you.
today's two classes, 2 sessions were so nice to offer us all this information. Very, very good, and so thankful to sir for having this class. Let's pray. Gracious Lord, Heavenly Father, we are so thankful to you for this time of study. Thank you for the information that you have given us through your servant. Lord, we pray that you continue to strengthen your servant and continue to help him so that he will finish the classes that he is supposed to take here, and in the coming days he will be a blessing to many more people. Lord, help us to make use of this information for the betterment of our life and to strengthen our faith and our commitment. We once again submit ourselves to your mighty care. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Our Father, Lord, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and glory, forever and ever. Amen. May the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, and the sweet communion of the Holy Spirit rest and abide with us, in a special way upon your servant.